Welcome to the Pain-Free Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Dana Jones. I am a certified personal trainer, and I'm here to help you achieve your fitness goals without pain. In each episode, I'll share tips and strategies that will help you stay safe and pain-free while you're working out. I'll also interview experts in the field of fitness and pain management. So if you're ready to learn how to stay active and pain-free, then subscribe to the Pain-Free Athlete Podcast today. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Pain-Free Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Dana Jones. Today, I am joined by a special guest, Andrea Hall. She is a nurse, author, mind-body nurse coach, and she's certified in evidence-based sciences of pain reprocessing therapy, caring science, and heart math. Andrea currently works as a pain recovery coach with Lynn Health, where she helps people regulate their nervous systems, alleviate chronic pain, and build resilience. She also shares her knowledge and inspiration on her YouTube channel, blending health, spirituality, and storytelling to guide people toward greater well-being and joy. Welcome to the show, Andrea.
Thank you so much for having me, Dana.
So this is number 2. Because 2 years ago, when I was looking for guests, you came and you spoke about heart math because I had no idea what it was. And now I know what it's about because I did my SERPA training. And Georgie Oldfield talks a lot about heart math and why we need that body coherence. And then you were also talking a little bit about your pain, and we kind of went into it a little bit, but we didn't go far. And then we didn't talk for a while, and then you exploded off in all different directions. So kind of catch us up. What have you been up to?
Well, since we last spoke, and I was in such terrible pain then, I have gotten out of pain and I've retired from my 34-year career at Kaiser Permanente and went into business for myself. So I'm going to back up a little bit and say thank you so much for telling me about pain reprocessing therapy and because when we spoke, and I told you that I was having pain. You asked me what was going on in my life when the pain started. I'm gonna try not to get emotional, but it really
Get
touches me that
emotional.
you
We
took
get
me
emotional here.
took me there, girl, and you brought me out. So, you told me about Dr. Sarno and how you used his techniques to get to, recover from your migraines. And YouTube, how the algorithm is when if you start looking at one thing, they're going to say, "Oh, you'll like this and you'll like that." So I just started getting all this information on it, and I found a doctor, his name was Dr. Les, and I was asking him questions, and he told me about Lynn Health, which is a pain recovery healthcare platform. Actually, we do it online. I went through the platform with a pain recovery coach, and I was so happy with the results that, I said, "Oh, wow, I wish I could do this." And before that, I had gone ahead and retired from Kaiser because it was just too painful to walk into the building anymore.
Mm.
I was crooked and I needed a new hip. So my pain was both structural and emotional and neuroplastic, I found out. But before I knew that it was actually a hip, a very arthritic hip that needed to be replaced, I had all the pains running up and down my legs and my MRI and my chest x-ray and everything said all sorts of horrible things about my prognosis. But as you know, none of it was true because just because you have abnormal X-ray or MRI doesn't mean you have to have pain. So after I graduated from the Lynn program, I had to wait 4 months. And so I applied for the coaching position and didn't return to Kaiser. I had had enough of the corporate world, as grateful as I am for the pension and the retirement checks. Very grateful because that allows me like a safety net to do what I
Mm.
love, which is helping people get out of chronic pain now. I reach back and do that. And because I'm an independent contractor with them, I can bring in my elements of heart math and caring science to augment the pain reprocessing therapy. So I'm
So
having
you,
a great time.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm having a great time. I lost the weight that I put on because I told you too. I said I'm not athletic anymore. I put on a bunch of weight when I was out of commission for 3 years with that pain. So it's like a new lease on life. Very happy with where I am.
Yeah. And I love that because there's something that people don't understand. I think a lot of times people feel when they start to embrace Sarno or the resistance behind embracing Sarno's theories is that all of a sudden what's wrong with me is not there, or it's not legitimate, or it's not real, or whatever. And he never says that. It's very clear, like, your pain is real regardless of what it is. It's your essentially, it's your response. I don't think he knew that enough because he was such a bare bones kinda guy, like, in terms of being a doctor. He was a medical guy, but but he knew there was a huge psychological piece to it.
You sure did.
And there's so much fear and meaning that's attached to something hurting. And there's also grief and all the things, right? And I think that's what I noticed with you is that you were having this grief about losing who you were because I know you as this very bubbly, exuberant human who is always dancing and always moving. And when we were doing our interview, you were still there, but it was in the background.
It was
And
a
it,
dark period.
and it's rough. I mean, and that's for real is that when you're in that and it's some people call it a pain cave and I know that athletes refer to it as it's a great place to be, right? You need to be in the pain cave because that's where growth comes from and everything else. But when you're a chronic pain sufferer, the pain cave
So like
is just
pain
what it
caves.
is, right?
That's a great way to describe it.
It's dark,
Could
it's
use
damp,
that.
it's
Oh,
lonely, and if you can't get yourself out of it, then that sucks because 'cause you're constantly trying to work toward the entryway, and you can't because something holds you back. It may be a feeling, it may be an expectation, whatever it is. And for you to be able to get the support and separate the 2 and say, "Okay, I do have this structural thing that, yes, is creating a lot of issues for me," because there's no joke in, arthritis, right? It does mess with movement, it messes with flexibility, like, there's a whole
mhm.
bunch of things that it does mess with, but you could have gotten the surgery if you hadn't done the neuroplastic work. You could have gotten surgery and then noticed that now my knee
Mhm.
hurts and my back
Yep,
hurts and, "Oh, I have
absolutely.
migraines now," or, "I have
Uh-huh.
sciatica," or, "I have all this other stuff going on." But because you did the work, now you are free.
Mhm. All of the other pains, because I was had they did my doctor did say it was sciatica. I had gone to a doctor, called
Mhm.
it sciatica, plus I was having the pains down the front of my thighs and the backs of my thighs. And with Lynn Health, I got rid of all those extraneous pains and it locked right into my right groin, that inguinal area. And I Googled it and I'm like, what would cause this growing pain on my right side? And it said referred hip pain. So I went back to my doctor, and by then my arthritis was so severe that my right limb was shorter, significantly
Wow.
shorter. It was like 2 inches shorter than my left. So I was wobbling. And one of the nurses at work said, "What's going on? You're wobbling." You know? And so it was very apparent to everybody that something was wrong with my leg. And the minute he looked at me, he said, "Why didn't you come back?" I said, "Because you said that, that it was sciatica." So I was treating it neuroplastically because that's a neuroplastic thing, sciatica. And he was just like, he got me into to see the surgeon and they hooked me up and now I'm so happy, so grateful. I was afraid that my life was going to be this overweight, wobbling from side to side, in pain, elderly person.
Mm.
And I don't have to do that now.
I love it. I love it.
That's
Well,
not
and
where
that's
I'm going.
and you didn't deserve to go that way, and I'm glad that I was able to be part of the process, and
My God. Can you
the
believe how instrumental you were in my life?
no, I didn't. I had no idea. So for those of you, I don't know, what did you do? You commented on my YouTube. I think it was a
No,
LinkedIn post and then a
I must
YouTube.
have. You contacted me and asked me if I wanted to be a guest on and I don't know, maybe I had reached out first or made friends with you on LinkedIn or something, but we've known each other since our children were 5 and my babies will be 22 this month. So,
Right.
but we
Yeah.
met when they were in kindergarten, when
Well,
my baby.
I think I was surprised because it was LinkedIn and you commented and you said, "You need to listen to Dana because she changed my life." And I was like, "No."
That one, yes. Yes. Oh my God.
Because I
Yeah.
had no
That was a
idea.
recent one. Yeah.
And
And
I was like,
I'm not exaggerating. Not
"Hmm,
at all.
that's makes me feel good that I did that for you." I didn't even know.
My God. I didn't know anything about Dr. Sarno, and you sent me a couple links and I was just like a dog with a bone. I was reading everything, looking at everything. And when that one doctor, I was gonna sign up to have sessions with him. And he was very expensive because he's a doctor, but he was like, you should look at Lynn Health because it's not as expensive and they have pain coaches. We have doctors that we meet with, refer to. We have like a clinical advisory board. We meet every month with that and with our pod team, it's called like a staff meeting kind of thing
Mhm.
and talk about pain. We're constantly educated on it. And I took the pain reprocessing therapy course too before I even went to Lynn. So I just inhaled all that information. It's just so powerful and so empowering to be able to give people the tools to overcome that chronic pain. Nobody should live in chronic pain. We don't have to.
Yeah. Well, and I love that you all and I don't know how the medical community works. I imagine there are similar things, right? Where they have monthly meetings where they get together and they talk about the newest thing. But when you're dealing with a general practitioner, I don't know if there's enough.
There
I
is,
mean, you're probably talking about the newest illness that's coming up, or there's a new study, and this is what your medical group is going to shift or protocol or whatever may happen. But when you're focused on one thing, and that
mhm,
is to help with the cessation of pain, then you get to be up on all the studies. And that's if you're somebody who's suffering and you're
mhm,
not getting the answers that you need from your general practitioner, that's why it's nice to have organizations like this that you can lean on as a supportive. I always believe that we need to have a team. And you need to go to your physio. If that's what you need to do, then you're going to your physical therapist. If you're having issues with nutrition, you need to go to your nutritionist. If you have to get what's right between your ears going in the right direction, then you better go to your therapist. And this is just another tool. And it's not to get rid of something. It is just to accessorize, right? Like we want to have nice toolboxes. You want to have all kinds of different things that you could say, hey, I got to do this now. And then you just hop on
mhm.
it as opposed to saying, I'm never going to go to the doctor. Because a lot of people do that. And I kind of did that in the very, very beginning where I was like, okay, I know exactly what's wrong with me. I figured this out. I'm never going to my doctor again. And then I put off a bunch of shit. And then it came back and slapped me a little bit. And I have other stuff that's popped up now. The good thing about it is now I have the psychological background so that I'm not freaking out about the
Mhm.
things that are just kind of happening.
Yeah,
And so I get to be present and then say, okay, this is what's in front of me right now, and I need to handle it.
sure.
And so I think that organizations like yours helps that whiplash, helps people from not swearing off the medical community
No,
as a whole and saying,
right.
okay, well, my
Right.
sciatica is just because my wife left me or,
Mhm.
my dog died or whatever it may be. It's more than that. And then we should explore all options.
It's essential that we first see a medical doctor and rule out anything that is, life-threatening or dangerous or anything. So we always want people to be reassured that, there is no medical danger because, the fear, danger goes to the pain. There's that fear pain cycle. So we have to break that. And with mine, I'm really glad that I got the hip fixed because, now I still have some neuroplastic pain sometime, but it's nothing compared to what it was and just the whole reprocessing of it, reframing it and thinking about it differently and recognizing what it is. It's a whole different story. But yeah, the medical community is still very essential in what we do because they're the ones who refer their patients to us.
Mm,
I've not seen anybody from California though. My clients are on the East Coast. They're in Pennsylvania. You know, I have, well, do I have? I think I do have one in Southern California.
mhm.
Yeah, one in Southern California, and all the rest are East Coast.
Yeah. Well, and it's a thing. It could be a couple of things, right? It could be the Californians are a little bit more apt to go to outside of their medical community for seeking of help, right? We're a little bit more fluid about hopping out and going to see an osteopath or, an acupuncturist or something like that. And then the other piece is that I love Kaiser because I'm also a Kaiser patient. I believe there was one doctor we had many years ago that was a part of a chronic pain group,
Mhm.
and she was fantastic because she also talked about neuroplastic pain, and I called bullshit on her because I was not ready to receive the information, and she gave it, she was
Yeah,
there. She was in my face about it, and I was like, "No, you're wrong." It's like something's I was so entrenched in my belief around what was causing my pain, which was funny because I didn't know what was causing my pain. I just was like, "Something's wrong. I know something's
Yeah,
wrong."
something's very wrong.
And she's like, "No, something's wrong with your thinking." And I was like, "No."
Yes, exactly. Something is wrong with your thinking,
Yeah.
with the way your brain is processing it.
Yeah. So, and I didn't want, and then she ended up leaving, which is such a bummer because I'd love to like stalk her and track her down and be like, "You were so right. Why didn't I
That would be
listen?"
great.
She would have saved me
Yeah.
at least, 20 years of agony if I listened to
Mhm.
her in the beginning. But,
Yeah.
everybody's got their path. So so you decided to do coaching, which is you because you are a fantastic coach. And I love because you love humans and you love connecting. And so if you could say, you wake up and I don't know, you have a tingling in your knee or something like that. What is your go-to tool that you use to, I don't know, have a conversation with that part
Mm,
or accept it? What is your thing when you, especially if you start feeling some fear creeping in or some tension in your
mhm.
body around that particular sensation? Like what is something that you go to first?
I'd be very curious about it first. I'd kind of move it around, see if it feels structural or how does it feel. And then I would go into you've heard of somatic tracking, right?
Mhm.
So I would go into my deep breathing and relaxing and start looking at the pain in my knee and saying, well, is it really pain or is it tingling? Not necessarily pain. And so I think, well, if it had a characteristic, would it have a color? Would it be moving? And sometimes, if it's moving, you do enough of that breathing and inquiring of why the pain is there or the sensation is there, and then asking about the emotions. Is there anything that I'm feeling? Am I concerned about something? Do I not want to get up? Because oh, your knee hurts. Don't get up. So I have to really assess my emotions as opposed to it, and then get up and see what it does. Does it get better with the day, or was there something? Usually, it's someplace I don't really want to go or do
Mm.
if I feel. And I often ask my clients, how does your pain serve you? And it's amazing how people will link to it. Like I have one who gets migraines. And she said, well, when my husband wants to go to my in-laws' houses, sometimes I say I have a migraine and I really don't, but they know that I have migraines. One told me so he doesn't want to do his yard work. He just doesn't want to clean out the garage. And so we got to the point where I said, why don't you just pay somebody to do it? You got the money to
Mm.
do. You don't have to clean the garage or the yard work. And he started paying somebody, and his pain got so much better.
Mm. Well, I always
I
felt
treat myself the same way I treat my clients.
Yeah, I always felt because I started at such a young age that my pain was able to speak for me before I was able to speak for myself. And what you're saying rings true for those people, right? This man does not want to do his yard work. And so instead, the universe is like, hey, how about shooting pain in your back or whatever, your shoulder?
Protect you. We'll keep you from doing that.
All right, we're going to keep you safe because that yard work is deadly.
Yeah.
Whatever. But that's our perception of it, right? Is that I don't want to do it. And there's that pushback. And I think you can only get away with resisting it for so long before your body sends up a flare in, a twinge in the shoulder or a twinge in the knee or the back or that migraine. And migraines are funny because I truly believe migraines are so emotional because
Mhm. I
and
agree.
the shoulder pain may get you out of the yard work, but it doesn't get you out of going to your in-laws. The migraine
Mhm.
gets you out of a lot of stuff because right, it's multifaceted.
That's right.
It gets me out of going out to dinner with people. It gets me to go,
Yeah.
working out. Like you can use that for everything. So I
The
think,
people do. Yeah.
yeah, I think migraine is
Some people, you
sometimes
don't even have to
cheaper to
get out
have.
of bed if you don't want to, if the pain is too bad.
Exactly. Yeah, it really does check you out of a lot of things, and
Mhm.
it's sad, and it's also we're teasing about it, and
Mhm.
obviously, if you have something, you may not think we're very funny, but as somebody who's did migraines for 43 years, it served me well. Well, from 8 years old. From 8 years old, not knowing how to say no, and sometimes I'd push through anyway, because it's like I felt like it was my obligation to do something even though I did it poorly, and it's kinda sad, but that's I think what you're doing is that you're giving people a voice, and that's important because sometimes we lose our voice, especially as we get older,
Mhm.
and to feel that pride and even, like, the kinda my shoulders were popped back and I could say no, right? And being
Absolutely.
okay with the no. So so how this has been a great conversation. I'm so happy for you. This is good stuff. But
Thank
I
you.
wanna know, like, so how can people get in touch with you? What are some things that they can do? Like, how do we get all of you?
Thanks. Okay. I'm gonna tell you one more thing though. I think you
Sure.
mentioned the whole no pain and no pain, no gain thing. So, I'm an author and I typically write about because I'm like this self-help type of
Mhm.
person and it keeps into my fiction. My latest book, it's entitled I Am Good Regardless, and then the colon, No Pain is Gain. And my
Mm.
character is 60 and retiring and reinventing her life, and she develops chronic pain over some issues. So I wove in PRT with that. And so anyway, it's
I
much of
love
into
that.
that.
Is that out right now?
I have a
Okay.
series called The Metaphysical Love Stories, and there are
Right.
three of them. So the first one deals with grief, the second one deals with anxiety, then the third one deals with the chronic pain. And then because I couldn't help myself from trying to be a self-help author, I actually wrote an actual self-help book. So I entitled Wake Up. And they can all be found on my website, like you're asking. And my website is Holy Power, WHOLLY Power.com. And they're also on Amazon under the Metaphysical Love Stories. And you'll even on my social media sites, I have the books there with links.
Okay. And
That's
then
how to reach.
what are you doing on your YouTube channel?
I work as a mind body nurse coach. That's my title, for what
Mhm.
I do. And so I give micro practices. I do a little heart math. I'll do some little sessions. I'll just talk about certain issues like anxiety and relaxation and how the mind, will bring about certain symptoms. And then for the body part, I started it way back in 2011 when I was a fitness instructor. And so I left those on there because of the mind body stuff. And my business coach recommended that I leave them on there and not start a whole new YouTube channel. And so for the body part, I teach line dances on there because it's so fun and it's important to link our mind and our brain with our bodies and keep them active and, practice what we do, the movements even in our head. That whole thing about if you practice it in your head, you
Oh,
could
yeah.
shoot the basket better or you could play piano better. So I do some line dancing just because they're fun and it's such a big thing in our community now that
Well,
people
and
want to
even
know
on
what
the
the
other
latest
piece,
line dance is.
the other piece that you're saying also about the fun, and that a lot of times when you are a chronic pain sufferer, it's almost like a rebirth to figure out how to have fun.
Yes, you're right.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, so here's your opportunity, right? Is to do
Yeah,
some because you can do the line dance in your house. Nobody has to see you.
absolutely.
And then when you get brave, you
Absolutely.
pop out. That's great. All right. Well, what was one thing that you would love to leave us with in terms of your growth as a coach, your growth as a chronic pain sufferer, a nugget of hope? What do you got for us?
It's so important to enjoy your life. We never know when it's going to be over. We never know if we're going to be crippled or if any catastrophic thing happens to dramatically change it. Just enjoy every day, every moment that you can. It's so worth it. It's not long. And one of my favorite scriptures is Christ came so that we could enjoy our lives and have it more abundantly to the full. And I was like, I am not going to let his coming be in vain, regardless of how
Yeah.
anybody thinks about Christ or the Bible. My point is enjoy your life and have a good time, you
Yes.
know?
Andrea, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know.
Oh, thank you.